Good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone. Welcome to this year's observation of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. I am Harshita Sehgal,
This is Tanvi Saralia.
and we, on behalf of SAI International School, are honored to host you for the evening.
Well, before we begin, I guess there is someone who wants to say hi.
Hi everyone! Welcome. So I am Rishita and I am an elf. I don't exactly look like one, but my ears are hidden under, I promise. Not lying at all. Now, I won't take much of your time. I hope all of you are happy and healthy and safe. The thing is, I have a really big secret that's going to be revealed at the end of this event. Stay tuned, okay? And also, I have to run now because I stole a friend's cookies, and that friend might want to really want to beat me up. So, bye everyone.
A jolly cheers was just what we needed to kickstart the event. We certainly can't wait for the surprise in the end.
Indeed. Now, we would like to introduce Shravani Jaina from Sister School, SAI International Residential, to give the welcome speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my immense pride and pleasure to welcome Chairman Sir, our Honorable guest Dr. Sruti Mohapatra, guest schools from Round Square, all teachers, students, and the SIR students who are in the organizing committee. It is indeed a great day as we assemble here to observe the International Day of People with Disabilities. We need to realize our responsibilities towards the society and the large family we belong to. This day is not only to talk about the people with disabilities, but implement on the pledge left behind by the great leaders. No one will be left behind. They also have the right to be treated equally because at the end of the day, everyone is unique in their own way. With warm feelings, I, on behalf of SAI International School and SAI International Residential School, extend a special welcome to the members of Swabhiman. Thank you.
Thank you
The,
so
hu-
much, Shravani, for such a warm welcome.
the human spirit is one of the ability, perseverance, and courage that no disability can steal away. Upholding this positive spirit is an organization striving towards excellence, breaking one stereotype at a time. We would now like to give the floor to Chinmay Pradhan, the first ATP tennis profession of Odisha and Director Gurukul Resort from Swabhiman State Disability Information and Resource Center, to share with us all what they have got regarding the stats and statistics of disabilities in India.
I'm sorry, you guys, you'll have to go on to Dr. Sahu. They're having a little bit of a connection problem from Swabiman. I'm just working that out. I'll be right with you, okay? You'll have to go to Chairman, sir.
So, Chairman Sir, would you please like to unmute?
Well, thank you, ma'am, for informing us that it's our chairman sir's turn. Um, we actually are looking forward to listen to our sir. So let me tell a little about him to all of you first. Dr. Vijay Kumar Sahu, the founder and chief mentor of the SAI International Educational Group, comprising of 4 institutions, namely SAI International School, SAI Angan, SAI International Residential School, and SAI International College of Commerce. Adorned with multiple academic achievements, Dr. Vijay Kumar Sahu has been honored with numerous titles such as Economic Times Now Business Leader of the Year, Educational Entrepreneur of the Year 2020, Lifetime Achievement Award for Bringing Innovation in Learning by Brain Feed, Odisha Living Legend Award by Odisha Diary, and the Achiever of Odisha by Times of India, to name a few among many. Our chairman, sir, truly believes that the growth of the state lies on a strong foundation which rests on knowledge, life skill, and a resilient value system. Sir, we request you to kindly share a few words of wisdom with us. Over to you, sir.
I just was able to unmute myself. Hello, I'm Chinmay. I am a former ATP tennis player, and I have worked with Dr. Sruti Mohapatra for last 11 years in Swabhiman as a volunteer. And I have got this opportunity today to tell you some interesting facts about disability. And if I'm allowed to share my screen, and I can go with my presentation.
Yeah, you're a co-host, so you can proceed.
Thank you. So, okay, before we go on and know about some interesting facts on disability, I'll just go brief about what exactly is disability. So, disability is any condition that makes it more difficult for a person to do a certain activity or interact with the world around them. So, it can be cognitive, developmental, intellectual, mental, or physical, sensory, or it can be a combination of all these things. And it impairment is not necessarily it is like happened only after birth. It can be it's like any accident, or it's also present from the birth. So I'll just go with the World Health Organization's definition in simple. So disability is an umbrella term. So if we consider this as an umbrella, so we have impairment, activity limitation, and participation restriction under it. So what exactly impairment mean? An impairment is like a problem in any body function or structure. An activity limitation is something, difficulty encountered by an individual while executing a task or an action. And a participation restriction is a problem experienced by the individual in involvement in any life situations. So this is what exactly a disability is all about. So if we come down to the interesting facts, so the thing is there are 1 billion disabled people in the world, which is 15% of the global population. So if we see the demographics, how it goes, so over 1 billion people live with some form of disability. As we told, that would be something around 110 to 190 million uh, like adults you find in this place. Similarly, if we go and see the case of Odisha, so around 60 lakh to 70 lakh people, it's an estimate where we can see that in itself in Odisha, that's a huge number. And if we get all the Indian population all together, it would be something like, it becomes the fifth largest state after UP, Maharashtra, Bihar, and West Bengal. So if we get all the disabled people together, so that would be people with disability together. So this would be something like that, or maybe a country size like UK and France of total disabled population of 55% literate. And like if you also see the rural areas, like that would be the people those who are not having less literacy rate, around 49%. So what we want to say is the number of people with disabilities are also substantially increasing. So as we know, like from 7, the category has also increased in India after the RPWD Act, uh, till 21. So that is what substantially the number is increasing, right? So that is nearly 70% of India's disabled population live in villages. Most of them suffer from high level of stigmatization and poverty. The number of disabled people is highest in the age category of 10 to 19 years of age group. So like especially you can say children with disability in the youth, just at that stage we find they're the highest number. That's the age group where we find the highest number of people those who are currently in this fragment. Children with disability are 5 times more likely to quit school than national average. So you might, this is something this is very common. If you go to schools, we find there are less number of people, less number of children with disabilities in the school. So that is one thing which you can all mark in different schools of even in rural areas and even urban schools. India's census suggests 2.21% of the population is disabled, which is much lower than the global average of 15%. Right? So if you go and see India's houses, the world's largest number of visually impaired population in the world. so many, like, we have the highest number of visually impaired people in the world. In December 2015, central government announced the change of nomenclature from person with disability to Divyang. So divine body, that means Divyang means divine body, instead of Viklang. So we used to have this terminology, we used to say this like Viklang, but that has, this, like, but the central government, it has announced that it should be Divyang. It's like divine body. In India, the proportion of women suffering from disability are higher than men. And according to the Rights of Persons with Disability Act 2016, all the buildings approved and built needs to be accessible. The norms, like, this is something which is, we have to make it accessible. Any uh, official building needs to be accessible. So that is something which is passed in the RPWD Act 2016. So now I want to show you this thing, that how disability and poverty has a vicious cycle. They are all interlinked. So if we see that someone is poor, and, like, is struck with poverty, is generally more vulnerable towards ill health. They have, like, there's a chance that the person would be more unhealthy, and that leads towards disability, because if you don't have proper nutrition, proper food, and you don't go with all proper in a proper healthy manner, you might, that tends to disability, and again disability tends to poverty, and that goes to the same vulnerability issue of getting ill. So this is a vicious cycle that is happening currently all around the world. So you can see more developing nations have this problem, because we have more number of these rates. So now I want to share a last bit about CRPD, that is the conventional rights, the convention on the rights, the convention on the rights of person with disability, that is CRPD. So basically, disability is now understood more like human right issues. So people have come forward to promote, to protect, and ensure that human rights of all people with disability. So far, more than 170 countries have signed the convention, and over 130 have ratified it. So they are all working together towards an inclusive world. So that is something good that is happening at the current moment. People have got to know that these human rights are important. Disability is now understood as a human right issue, and all barriers to be slowly, they have to be taken off, and work towards inclusion. So that's it from my side, for just sharing some interesting facts with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chinmay, for such an interesting yet such an informative presentation. It was literally an eye-opener.
Thank you.
With this, we would now like to give the floor to Hem and Sneha. Over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Harshita and Tanvi. A very good afternoon to everyone. I am Hem Doshi, and I have with me Sneha Sucharita, and we will be your hosts for the main session. To begin with the session, we have among us Dr. Shruti Mohapatra, our keynote speaker. From spurring a career in the Indian civil services to becoming a leading crusader for disability rights, Dr. Shruti Mohapatra's relentless struggle and never say never attitude have been a source of inspiration for all those fighting odds to make it big in life. Apart from training numerous civil service aspirants, she has created Swabhiman, Anjali Festival, and Odisha State Disability Network. TEDx speaker Dr. Sruti Mohapatra has won over 75 awards for her exemplary life and work. She has not only excelled in her academics but has always been at the forefront of many path breaking initiatives in disability rights advocacy. I can go on and on about her achievements, but I'm sure I will fall short of words. So now I would humbly request Dr. Shruti Mohapatra to address the audience. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Ms. Doshi. Thank you for those kind words. Um, Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Jessica, Mr. Sahu, and all the faculty members of SAI International School, and all these young, bubbly faces waiting to listen to us. Okay, so we are talking about disability, specifically on the occasion of the International Day for Persons with Disability. So, what is this IDOD or IDOD? International Day for Persons with Disabilities was designed by the United Nations in the year 1992. Governments across the world, they decided that let's talk about disability. Because despite many countries coming up with conventions, with laws, with policies, in general, when World Bank and World Health Organization did a survey, they found that these were the poorest of the poor people, as was just mentioned by Chinmay. These were the most underprivileged. These were the people who were most illiterate, and they had very little job opportunities. So the United Nations decided that it's very, very necessary that we start talking about these people, because people with disabilities are breaking barriers, whether it is sports or whether flying an aeroplane with only their feet, or jumping and doing scuba diving, or topping the Indian administrative services, as was done in India by Ira Singhal. So they were breaking barriers, and they were not just at par with their peer members, but they were far excelling them. So this led the United Nations to decide on a day, and all the member countries of United Nations celebrate this day across the world, as we do in India on 3rd of December. Some celebrate it for a day, some celebrate it for a week, some celebrate it for 10 days, and sometimes the celebration go beyond 1 month. But if you ask me, I would say every day is International Day for Persons with Disabilities, because when you look at us, as your co-travelers on planet Earth. If I'm a woman, my rights are as much, I'm a woman with disabilities, my rights are as much as any other woman in India, or for that matter in the world. If I'm a child studying in school, my rights as a child with disability is the same as any other child going to the school. If I'm a sports person, though I play only with my feet, even then my rights are as much as any sports person in that particular field. So these are the nuances that United Nations made an effort to, and now the entire world is celebrating. So these are actually interesting times for disability, not just in India, but across the world, because disability has traveled a long journey. It started with people being called abnormal, people being killed, burnt, thrown off the mountains, left in the jungles with a little bit of food, till the church in the west and the temples in the east came to play powerful role, and they lived on charity. From charity, we kept on moving forward till the World War One, which was actually a very bad thing that happened, but it brought about a significant change in the lives of people with disabilities, because suddenly everybody became conscious. Okay, this is my friend, this is my brother, this is my colleague, this is my boss. They have all gone to the war just like me. Now they have returned. Somebody has lost an eye, a limb, cannot hear, scarred in their faces, but actually they are not abnormal. They don't need charity. They just need some support to be rehabilitated. And that's how the phase of rehabilitation started until World Bank, World Health Organization, they all came into play. The Cold War between USA and USSR broke down. We had so many economic outfits coming up, the NAFTA, the SAFTA, the G7, the G8, and every country started speaking one language, the language of development, and disability moved from all these issues to becoming an issue of development. Major change happened in 2006 when United Nations created a convention and all its member countries adopted it. And what was this convention? It was the United Nations Convention on Rights of Persons with Disability. For the first time, entire world talked about the rights of those with disability in terms of human rights, and this was a paradigm shift in disability. For all you young people, this is a wonderful time when the whole world is talking about inclusion. In the Sustainable Development Goals, we are talking about leave no one behind. So tomorrow's doctors, engineers, professors, teachers, sports person, administrative officers, architect, fashion models, fashion designers, whatever you're going to be, you must understand what is disability and who are people with disabilities. So let me share my screen with you. I have a lot of nice movies for you today. So let us see how much time is there and how much I am able to share with you. So for all of us, it is important to understand is the world is now competing in terms of economy. To be a powerful country, I cannot leave 15% of my population behind. I cannot leave them on charity. I cannot have them just sitting and eating in the tax structure of the country. So every person with disability must ultimately become a taxpayer. That is why understanding disability becomes very important. So now so let me show you a film.
At Rooted in Rights, our videos are about people with disabilities. But that phrase means different things to different people, because everyone defines disabilities differently.
Can you hear? Can you hear it? Sorry.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Oh,
Yeah, we
yeah,
can
yeah.
hear it.
Just a minute. Okay.
At Rooted in Rights, our videos are about people with disabilities. But that phrase means different things to different people, because everyone defines disabilities differently. Sometimes people are put into categories. Physical, intellectual, and developmental disabilities, deafness and hearing impairments, blindness and vision impairments, symptoms or effects from a chronic condition, mental illness and traumatic brain injury, and that just scratches the surface. Some people don't identify as having disabilities at all. And sometimes having a disability is less about how different you are and more about how differently other people treat you.
Although disabilities can set certain limitations, the biggest limitation is attitudes and prejudice.
People who have mental illness or have been diagnosed, we've been portrayed very negatively and very poorly in the media.
We're just like anyone else, human beings. I don't want to be perfect, but I want to be a person where I have a voice.
Too often, people only focus on the disability. Maybe that's the problem with this whole video. We've been defining disabilities the whole time, when all we needed to do is define people. People come in all shapes and sizes and abilities. No categories necessary. Find more videos at Rooted in Rights.
So what is a disability? Chinmay has already talked to you about. I have just on the screen 4 people I want you to see. I have known all these people. So the one with a beige sandy shirt is my good friend Garimala Subramaniam, 100% blind. But do you know, he's now the vice president of the Hindu, and he takes care of all the international events that the newspaper carries on. Amazing person, the great sense of humor. And even from the 1990s, he has been one of the greatest slapstick comedians. So they are all people. We just have to look beyond their disabilities. And then on the screen, you can also see a person in a red shirt. That's Nick Vuzik. Nick is an amazing person who was born without limbs. I will show you his video a little later. Then the girl on the wheelchair is my very good friend. Her name is Malini Chip. Has any one of you seen a movie called Margarita with a Straw? Or have you heard about it? So Margarita with a Straw was made by Kalki Koechlin, the Indian actress, and it is based on the life of Malini. Malini, you cannot understand what she is speaking. She is cerebral palsy and has severe communication disabilities, but is such an independent person. She traveled all the way alone to London. She goes swimming, she goes hitchhiking, traveling, and has written a very nice book, One Little Finger. She brings about changes in the lives of people with cerebral palsy. And The black and white photo is that of Helen Keller. So disability is a condition that restricts everyday activities. But all these people have gone beyond their disabilities, and I want you to see a beautiful movie about Helen Keller, who is both deaf and blind, but she did not let that stop her. She changed her own life, and she changed the life of hundreds and thousands in those times when disability was not even talked about.
In this room sits a remarkable woman. She's Miss Helen Keller. She felt the vibration of the spoken word. She feels the G, the hard G. The. On the lips, she feels the B. I am not dumb now. No.
So I've shown you a couple of positive stories I have told you, but we need to understand what is the general situation of the lives of people with disabilities across the world, and actually why this came into the light, because now these are interesting times. We have strong laws in India. We have an international convention. The Sustainable Development Goals call about leaving no one behind. Yet one pandemic changed the entire scenario. One COVID pandemic showed that governments across the world are not prepared to address the issues of people with disabilities. Often they get left out in emergency responses, and we need to change the world a lot. As Chinmay has already told you, there are 1 billion people with disabilities around the world. And if you look at India, though India says there are, as per the census 2011, there are 12,44,000 people. But if you actually count it, it's close to 60 lakhs in the state of Odisha. And they are the most underprivileged and the poorest people in the whole world. And a recent report has brought to the fore that 20% of the world's poorest have always a disability. Then they always suffer barriers. So what are these barriers that we are talking about? Environmental barriers, organizational barriers, attitudinal barriers, and communication barriers. The greatest barrier, environmental barrier, it can be a physical barrier, like a building, a transport mechanism. For example, now suppose there is a boy who is short in height, whom we call a midget or a dwarf, which are not very polite words in conversation. Now this person goes to a school and you give him a table which is 3 feet high. And then we say that this boy has not been able to perform. Instead of that, if we provide the boy or the girl of low height a table of a lower height, then his performance can be judged. Similarly, if we construct a building which has classes in the first floor and there is no elevator, no ramp, then we are creating a world which is barrier ridden for people with disabilities. Communication barriers, organizational barriers, and environmental barriers, they can all be removed if we are able to change the attitude of the people. Because attitude is one of the greatest barriers. You see, in India, we have the wonderful laws, but when these laws are to be implemented, we find as we go down from the district to the block to the tehsil to the village level, the laws are not getting implemented properly. That's because we have not been able to reach out and change attitudes and tell people, both government officers, the non-governmental organizations, and those who are disabled, that the world has new laws now which need to be mandated so that we can create a world where there is equity and equality for all. I'm showing you a beautiful example of barriers. Just to go to a school or a college or a university and complete education, get a certificate is already barrier ridden. There are a lot of challenges. Despite that, when people complete their examinations, they get their results, they face a lot of barriers. In the first one, you can see the attitudinal barrier where the boss says that, I'm not sure if you can perform. I'm showing you a physical barrier where the boss is saying that, I'm sorry, we cannot employ you because the place where you go to has stairs. Then an institutional barrier where people, when they ask for their support or a little thing, they are not being supported. Here, the social care institution says that you would have to live here before we could even assess. So this is a general problem that is often faced by people with disabilities, because to get the government entitlements, they need something called as a disability certificate. To get a concession in the train or in the bus, they need a bus certificate, a train concession certificate. But often in assessment of disabilities and issuance of certificates, they face major problems. Then I'm showing you an information barrier. Where the job contract has been given to the person, but is not able to read it. These are real life problems which we faced during the COVID-19. You see, there are thousands of people who are speech and hearing impaired, and none of them could understand the daily briefing of the COVID-19 situation. So finally, after a lot of advocacy, sign language interpreters were employed in India in different offices, and then people with deafness could actually understand what was being told about COVID-19. So this kind of life that people are living in India and in many countries of the world is very challenging. And for this, it is essential that at a very early age, all students should understand disabilities. So I have another little movie on how we can remove the barriers. Barriers are very easy.
Removing Barriers, an animated film. A person in a wheelchair arrives at a big library building and looks up at the entrance.
You see, this kind of films are accessible to all. This is an audio description film, which means a visually impaired person who is hearing this, actually they cannot see. For them, the background sound, the background description is also given. So this is how the Hindi film Sholay is the first commercial film which has been audio described for the visually impaired in India.
Removing Barriers, an animated film. A person in a wheelchair arrives at a big library building and looks up at the entrance. They see someone walking up the stairs and make a sad face. This image of the sad person crumbles up into a ball and reveals a brighter version of the same scenario. The library managers are standing at the window. They see that the person in the wheelchair can't get inside, and they have a conversation. They talk to some builders who begin to construct a ramp. The person in the wheelchair goes into the library using the new ramp. The person comes out from the library holding books and smiling happily. A new scenario shows a person sitting on a couch in their living room watching a comedy show on TV. The person walks over to the TV set and turns up the volume. They frown and look away disappointed. The image of the disappointed person crumples up and reveals a brighter version of the same scene. A sign language interpreter appears in the bottom corner of the TV screen. The person smiles and laughs at the TV program. A new scenario shows people working in an office typing at computers. One of the office workers is tired and falls asleep at their desk. The office manager frowns and nudges the office worker, pointing at the clock. The other co-workers whisper and snigger. The image of the tired worker crumples up and reveals a brighter version of the same scene. The office manager talks to the tired office worker and points towards another room. The office worker lies down on a sofa and has a rest. The office worker returns to their desk with a smile. The co-workers and office manager smile.
So there are very simple and easy ways where we can provide reasonable accommodations to those who have disabilities for providing an equal platform to perform, whether it is in education or it is in employment or recreation. So how we can build back a better country? Every government, every non-governmental organization, every school, every college, every university, every employing institute, they must understand the numbers correctly. If in Odisha, for example, or in India, for example, if we rely on the old figures of the 2011 census and say that we are only 12 lakhs and 44,000 and we plan on the basis of that number, then a lot of people will be left behind. But if we understand the number, as per WHO, it is now 60 to 70 lakhs in the state of Odisha, then immediately we become alert, we plan properly. The second thing we must understand is this is a heterogeneous population. Unlike gender, it is when we say women, it's not just women. When we say disability, there are different functional challenges. And if you move from the eye to the ear, or the mouth, or the hand, or the leg, a small change in a few degrees makes the scenario completely different. Different disability, different functional limitations, different accommodations that are needed. So once we understand that it is a huge population and a heterogeneous population and plan, then we can create a beautiful, equal country. We must also understand that this is a high-risk population. This is a high-risk population. They are more susceptible to contacting viruses like COVID-19, the SARS virus. They experience severe symptoms, and this leads to an elevated level of death. Once we have that clarity in our mind, our planning and our response to any health situation will be much more qualitative. We must all embrace accessibility. What is accessibility? You see, accessibility is not just about buildings. It's not just about transport system. It's not just about the computer, the smartphone, or the website. It is about access to judicial processes, to political, cultural, economic, educational, housing, institutional, employment related, health, all kinds of processes. See, I will give you one simple example. When we think of constructing a ramp, we think, oh, it will be used by those who are wheelchair users or those who are walking with crutches. That is not it. You see, when you go for universal designing and design a building with a ramp, then you're not just addressing the disabled, you're addressing pregnant women. You are addressing your staff and your employees who have small little children. You are also addressing the needs of people who have undergone major surgeries. You are addressing people who are carrying heavy weight. So accessibility is not just for the disabled, that needs to be in the back of our mind. I'm showing you this because this is one of the greatest attitudinal challenge that I have faced in Odisha and in India. Often we assume that we know what is best and how to do it best. So, and you look at this ramp. This is the realistic situation of the ramps in hundreds of government schools across the state of Odisha. And not just Odisha, but in all the government schools across India. So when you do something, if you don't do it right, then you are creating more hazards than helping or enabling or empowering those with disabilities. On top of that, if your attitude is one of arrogance and not of humility, then this money goes waste, the skill goes waste, whatever you have created is just a waste of everything. So here, and how this change can happen in India. Will it happen only by the government? Will it happen only by those who have disabilities and their families? No. For change to happen in India, to build India back better, to build a world which is open, which provides equal platform, which respects all its citizens on the basis of their abilities and not disabilities, all of us have to come together. All together. When all of us understand that uniform designing for anything, building, transport, smartphone, television, it is must for everybody. When all of us understand that we must create processes, we must create situations where everybody works and lives with dignity. I'll give you one small example. In 1997, when Odisha was celebrating its World Disability Day in a big way, I also reached that venue called as, then was called Suchna Bhavan, now is called Jaidev Bhavan in Bhubaneswar. All of them rushed and they said, we will lift you. I said, no, I will not go up like that. I want to go up with dignity. And as this discussion was going on, the officer in charge, the IS officer, Mr. Chinmay Basu, walked in. And I told him, look, you are a sensible officer, yet you have created such an inaccessible venue where I have to be lifted on my day. He told me, okay, what is to be done? I explained to him about ramps and about the mandates of the law. And he told him, can you give me a couple of minutes? After 1 hour, when I returned to Suchna Bhavan, the first ramp of Odisha was waiting for me, and it was used for more than 10 hours. So unless all of us come together, government, non-government, public, private, individuals, groups, only then we can create a world which embraces differences and celebrates diversity. And when this kind of a thing happens, look how beautiful life becomes. I'm going to show a beautiful story of reasonable accommodation, support provided to people, and what heights they can achieve in their life. You remember I was just telling you about Nick Vujicic? So here is Nick Vujicic's life.
I've always loved the water so much. Ever since I was a kid, the burning desire in me was to do what everyone else can do. I love being in the water. Hey, what's up? Good morning. Hi, how'd you sleep? Did you sleep well? Kyoshi. Oh. Daddy. Good morning. Hi. Oh, I love you. I love. Give Daddy a hug. Mommy. Okay, give me one more kiss. Mommy. Oh, Mommy. Okay, Mommy will come and pick you up.
Hello.
Mommy's here.
Good morning. Who's ready for some breakfast? Say me. Yes, let's go.
Because, good morning, baby.
Okay. Oh, he's so ready for breakfast. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
So I want to finish my talk with just one more movie and tell you how reasonable accommodations, how a change in attitudes, how providing accessible facilities can create superhumans.
Yes, I can, suddenly, yes, I can. Gee, I'm afraid to go on has turned into, yes, I can. Take a look, what do you see? 133 pounds of confidence in me. Got the feeling I can do anything. Yes, I can. It's something that sings in my blood is telling me. Yes, I can. I was just born today. I can go all the way. Yes, I can. 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 Hey, yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can! Are you ready? I can climb Everest. Yes, I can. I can find your own Everest. Yes, I can. I was just born today. I can go all the way. Yes!
So I would like to come to an end saying it is possible to create a world which can perform at its optimum. All that we need to do is to understand our fellow human beings, our co-travelers in this journey on earth, that we are all human beings. Forget abilities, forget inabilities, forget functional limitations. We are all equal, we are human beings. So open your homes, your offices, schools, and your hearts to all people with disabilities. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your words are indeed going to guide and inspire us through the rest of our lives. You are amazing, ma'am. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sneha.
I would also like to thank you, ma'am. It was really, really nice hearing you. That was a really heart-touching talk by you. I would remember it for the rest of my lives.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, moving ahead, we have the children of Swabhiman who will be conducting a quiz. So, cheer up everyone and get ready to answer the questions. So, actually, engineer by profession, and he works as a consultant in Swabhiman. I would like to now call him to begin with the quiz. Over to you, sir.
Um, okay, am I audible, everybody?
Yes, sir, you are.
All right. So I guess Neha has given me an introduction and I don't need to repeat that again. So without wasting any further time, let's jump right into the quiz, right?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
All right. You know, I can see students from all across the country and abroad. Why is everybody so quiet? All right. Okay. So, all the best to everybody here. We are taking only 12 questions because we have limited time of 10 minutes. So there will be multiple choice questions, some fill in the blanks, and some direct questions, and some true and false. All right, guys. Shall we start?
Yes, sir, we can start. But before that, I would like to ask the students if they can uh, switch on the video. That would be really helpful and interactive.
Yes,
Please,
and I would,
guys, come forward and switch on your videos.
yes, and I would like to request all the participants to raise your hand, right? Then we'll go to you. Is that okay, Sneha?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
All right. So moving on to our first question. So, who among the following US presidents was disabled? Is it Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, or Gerald Ford?
I can see some hands raised, so I'll just unmute the first person.
Well, I will let you coordinate, the hand. I will let you coordinate, okay?
Okay, sir. I guess Adishwar Singh is unmuted.
Neha, why don't you just call the name and let them answer so that we can move faster? Otherwise, we'll get stuck.
Yeah. So Adishwar, you are unmuted. Would you like to answer? Okay, I guess he is not able to speak. Nava, can you answer the question? Sorry, we can't hear you. Can you repeat it?
Option A.
Okay.
All right. It is Franklin Delano Roosevelt, popularly known as FDR. All right. Moving on to our next question. The famous quote, "Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light," was written by Marie Curie, Helen Keller, Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison. Well, the hands are already up.
Yeah. Nirmit, would you like to answer the question?
Yes, it is given by B. Helen Keller.
Yes, it is. All right. So moving on to our next question. Sorry. In which of these Hindi movies does Amitabh Bachchan, it's a rather easier one, plays the role of a 13-year-old boy who has progeria?
Adhiraj, can you answer this question? You have raised your hand.
Pa.
Yes, it was a very easier question. So as we move ahead, we will be increasing the difficulty of the questions. So another easier one. Which disability does the child Ishaan have it in the movie Taare Zameen Par? And what disability did his friend have?
Okay, Inora, would you like to answer this question?
Dyslexia.
Yes, it is. All right. Moving on to our next question. According to the first person terminology, which expression is appropriate? Children with disabilities, disabled child, child with a handicap, handicapped child.
Om Swaroop, would you like to answer this?
Actually, I don't know it, but I would like to guess children with disabilities.
Yes, that is an appropriate expression.
I will. No. Can you just go back to that question, Asif?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. See, children with disabilities is the correct term because you make it the person is important, the disability comes later. Earlier, when they called Vikalang or they called handicapped, they always emphasized and focused on the disability. But that has been changed by the UN Convention in 2006. Now it is the person who is important. So it's a child with disability, a woman with disability, a sports person with disability, and not disabled sports person or disabled woman.
Right.
Thank you, ma'am, for clarifying us.
Okay, moving on to our next question. According to the World Report on Disability, what is the percentage of children with disabilities living in developing countries? Please mark it's mentioned developing countries, not developed countries. or underdeveloped countries? 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%.
Rashi, would you like to answer this question? You have raised your hand. I guess she's unable to unmute. I'll go to the next.
Hello.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
20%.
Not really. We'll take another participant. That's not true.
Yeah, then we have Anika.
Yeah, 40%.
Not yet. No.
Okay, then we have Akshat.
I think so. C, 60%.
No. It's 80%. I guess we're only left with only one option. That's 80%. So according to the UNICEF data updated last year, the World Report on Disabilities, the percentage of children with disabilities living in developing countries is over 80%. All right. So Sugamya Bharat Abhiyan is also known as, it's one of the flagship programs started by the Narendra Modi government.
Aryan, can you answer this question? You have raised your hand.
Okay, it is also known as Accessible India Campaign.
Yes, it is also known as Accessible India Campaign.
And this was the first action that was taken by Government of India, the NDA government when it came to power in 2015. That's the first thing that they did. They said, let us do a symbolic accessibility of 50 buildings across 50 cities so that every government is sensitized and they take it up in a big way.
Yes. So moving on to our next question. What do the initials ADHD stands for?
Okay, Anika, can you answer this?
It stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder.
Okay, just so that everybody knows about what exactly ADHD is, it often begins in childhood and can persist into adulthood. It may contribute to low self-esteem, troubled relationships, and difficulty at school or work. So this is what exactly is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Moving on to our next question. Equity and inclusion for children with disabilities means equal opportunities, equal treatment, equal rights, equal participation, or is it all the above?
Osaf, can you answer this question?
Actually, I guess it would be all of the above.
Yes, it is. Rather an easier one. In which movies has Amir Khan played the role of a person who has amnesia? My Name is Khan, Ghazni, Sarfarosh, Dil. Come on, everybody knows this.
Can you answer this? Okay, he can't unmute himself, I guess. So, Pratmesh, can you answer the question?
Ashna, can we take one participant from
Yes.
Bangladesh? From Chittagong Grammar School?
Yeah, I'm answering. The answer is for this question is Ghajini.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you want me to take up like people
Sir, is it
from which
correct?
school?
Yeah, somebody from modern school, somebody from
Okay, sure, sir. I'll look into that.
Shriram. All right.
So is my answer correct, Ghajini?
Yes, absolutely. Which of these Hindi movies is about a person with multiple personality disorder?
Okay, Adhiraj, can you answer this question?
Okay, it's Asaf from Chittagong Grammar School. He seems like a little overwhelmed. Yeah, anybody? Yeah, come on, unmute yourself.
Astha, can you answer this question?
I don't specifically know this one.
Well, it's
Okay.
a famous South Indian movie. Okay, it's not Hindi movie, but it's a very famous South Indian movie.
I'll just unmute Arna if you could answer the question.
I guess it's Koila.
No, it's a very famous South Indian movie with Prakash Raj and Vikram. Okay, we can see Ayush Tuli step by step.
Okay, Ayush, can you unmute and say the answer?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's B, Aparachit.
Yes, it is. Aparijit. Okay. Okay, it's like one of the famous South Indian movies, and I would suggest all of you to watch this one. Like full of action, thriller, and everything. All right. Which of these Bollywood movies is about a person with Asperger's syndrome? My name is Khan Khamoshi Black Silsila.
Anika, would you like to answer the question? You have raised your hand. You can unmute and say the answer. Okay, maybe she can't. We'll then
Am I
go to.
audible?
Yeah, you are. Go ahead.
Is it option A? My name is Khan.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I guess with this, we will sum up our quiz session. And for everybody who were not able to answer, maybe you have got a lot of movie recommendations now. All right, over to you, Sneha.
Thank you so much, sir, for that informative quiz. We actually had a lot of fun participating in it, and we could get a lot of information from that. Okay, so I guess it's time we can hear our chairman, sir, speak. Sir, can you please unmute and address our audience?
Thank you, Sneha, for a wonderful program. It was also very informative for me, and I like to thank Jessica for making such a wonderful program. I see so many countries from so many places, and I see almost 350 children, participating in this program. And I would also like to thank Dr. Sruti Mohapatra, who has been always, front-loading the disability and cause for disability, not only in the state, but country, but also she has become a global ambassador for disability. Now, there are many facts which I saw in this presentations today, which were also very, very educative for me. And a lot has been spoken about disability and, how should the proactiveness of the government should be there, the proactiveness with the society, and each of us as a human being, and more so for children who are in the teens, who should understand the cause, nature, accessibility, and what's required to be done for disability and disability. Let me little digress from this physical disability and really take you for a minute to think: is disability is in the physical form, or is a disability of mind? And which is more harmful for a nation, for a state, for a city, for a village, for an institution, or for an individual? Whether the disability of mind, the way we think, the way we create conflict, the way we are unable to resolve conflict and come out with a solution acceptable to all, the way countries are fighting, the way people are greedy and want to grab as much of natural resources possible without thinking of humanity. Now we think of green campus, now we think of carbon credit. But are we thinking that disability is more in the mind, and how do we perceive disability and how do we approach disability. Let me show you a small clipping which will let you know what I want to convey in this disability of mind is worse than disability of body. Give me a sec. I will just try to show you that. So this is a small clipping to show you what I meant by disability of mind. You know, all those persons in the elevator, did they require the elevator to climb on the steps? Or it was more required for the person who had an amputated leg? But who took the first step? Seeing that nobody is taking the first step, it was the person with an able mind, but probably a little bit of disabled body. Now you think, who is more required for the society? All those able persons with a disabled mind, or that young lady with able mind but a disabled leg? It's you to decide. And this is what I want all my children to understand. Disability is in our mind. The second thing that I want to impress today is, do we really need to show sympathy for the people who have disability? Or we need to create opportunity for the people with disability so that we treat them as equals? And close your eyes and think of one thing that you did in your life till date, where you are the cause of creating a single simple opportunity for a person who had a little bit of disability. Have you helped a blind to cross the road? Have you helped a person who is unable to climb steps? Have you supported a person who needed your help, or just you overlooked and went on in your own work or in your own job? Think within yourself, and once each one of you will start thinking, that what is that I have done. Don't think what others have done. Don't think what society does. Don't think what government does. What have we done? What you have done. That's more important in life, my dear. And when I talk of disability of mind and ability of mind, do you know, all the greatest persons of the world are in some form or the other disabled. Talk of Amitabh Bachchan, he also has a disability. Amir Khan has disability. Thomas Edison was a disabled person. Albert Einstein was a disabled person. Leonardo da Vinci was a disabled person. But all of us take their name with pride. Does disability matter there? Stephen Hawking, all of you know, because he is of our generation. You're all proud of him. What's that we have done? Those who are from SAI International, you will all see, remember that every building that we have is having a ramp right up the top floor. Every wing of our school is accessible. Every toilet has a special toilet which can accommodate a wheelchair. Our people are trained, our group for security is trained to handle and to take care. And that is what. And I have seen you seniors when the children from these disabled schools come to our school, how you approach and how you treat and how you look with them with empathy. I still remember the cricket match which was there in the Bhubaneswar Blind School, where 20 kids of our school were blindfolded and played a cricket match with, and then they understood, how difficult it is to be blind. And I still remember that day when the 20 children who had been to the blind school, when they're coming back, each one of us was in tears. And I will tell, these 20 kids will never forget in the life and will never do anything which will hurt another disabled person. And that's what I want in each of you to understand. My dear children, it's not celebrating disability. It is understanding disability. Understand disability in your heart so that your hand functions towards ability. Don't advocate disability. Don't glorify disability. Make everybody conscious of disability. Enforce disability compliance. Force government. Force media. Force wherever you can so that opportunity is given to everyone as equals. It is God who has created various, no, 5 fingers are not equal. All of you, 350 children here, not a single face is similar. God has special purpose of doing it. And God has given us the opportunity to do something. Please do something. Let's do it. Let's not brood, let's do it. In SAI International, again, I still remember the function at Swabhiman. Dr. Mohapatra was there. And when I saw Mithilesh and Shakti Swarupa, I never imagined that they are disabled. At that time, we decided to take them as our teachers, and many of you would have seen them in our school as teachers. And I think they are the most popular dance teachers of our school. This is how we need to create opportunity and be with disability as equal partners. But the children, I cannot talk as all of you have been talking and showing facts about disability. I have a different perception and a different prescription of disability. So that's why I shared some of my thoughts. I hope I give another angle to disability. And again, before I end, I will request all of you who are listening to me, please do something that will make you proud. Do something that will make you feel that, yes, I did something for another disabled person to give an opportunity of equals. With that, thank you for giving me this opportunity. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. You never fail to enlighten and encourage us. Now, I would like to ask Shruti ma'am. Ma'am, if you do not mind, can we take up a few questions?
Definitely. I look forward to it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Students, please feel free to raise your hands to ask Shruti ma'am questions.
Swarup Chena, I think, wants to ask something and
Yes,
ask.
yes, ma'am. Om Swarup Jena, please unmute yourself and ask.
Ma'am, actually, how do you how do you feel so happy and you don't feel like it is a work in when you are working for the disability people? Like you are very happy all the time. Why is it so?
It's not just about disability, it's about any field, you know. I feel that when you enjoy whatever you are doing, you might be cooking, you might be reading a book, you might decide to clean your toilet, anything that you do, when you do it with joy, automatically your face will reflect the happiness within you. The best thing is to learn about, you're too small, but all of you can start practicing contentment. Now, if I kept cribbing after my accident, oh, I'm not in the civil services, they disqualified me because of my disability, or I would set up targets impossible, like I would say I'm going to win 100 meter gold in the 100 meters. These are impossible targets. We have to assess ourselves how much we can do, then work towards it diligently. Happiness is a definite outcome. There is no other choice but for happiness to visit you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Next, we have Astha Sharma. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you. What the question I had was that it was previously mentioned that we should not show sympathy to the those who have disabilities, more like give them opportunities. But what about empathy? Means should we show some empathy towards them? What do you think?
Yes, it's not sympathy, but empathy that people with disabilities need. You didn't feel sorry for me that I cannot walk or I'm in a wheelchair, but when I go to your school, your chairman, Mr. Sahu, went ahead and created a ramp. So I went on the ramp all around your school, and that is empathy. When you start feeling that the other people around you may have different kind of challenges, but they are capable when provided the right platform and the right opportunities, empathy is generated.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Astha. Next, we have Idha Manas.
Hello, ma'am. My question is that what gives you inspiration to do such work?
What gives me inspiration?
Yes, ma'am.
Reading a lot of books and traveling across the world. You see, when I met with my accident, I was just 22 and I did not know what is disability. So the first thing, even when I was in the Rehabilitation Institute in Vellore, the first thing that I did, I asked my doctor, can you give me a few books to read and understand what has happened to me? What is disability? And the second question I asked him is it possible to do everything on the wheelchair, or will I have to limit my activities? So my doctor, Suranjan Bhattacharya, had told me that you may be a little slow in doing a lot of things. You may be you may take a longer time, but there's nothing that you cannot do. but it's very important. So that's one thing I did. I read a lot. And then before starting my organization, when I became a part of an international outfit called Disabled People's International, and I traveled across the world. And that's when I learned that people with disabilities are leading a near normal life everywhere. What is required is empathy. What is required is understanding one's right. And what is required is how do you speak about it? How do you talk about it? Advocacy, when advocating for anything, first is you have to be knowledgeable. You must know, you must understand what you're talking about. And then when you speak, the others will be bound to listen to you. Is that what you asked? What else did you ask?
I think you have gave the answer.
Okay.
Okay, now anybody willing to ask Chairman Sir any questions? Please feel free to raise your hands.
I guess we have Astha who has raised her hand to ask a question.
Yes, my name is Ausaf, and I kind of want to take this issue on a political level. Like for me, my whole aim in life has been to help as many people as I can. However, I also feel that at times the number of people who are disabled should be decreased. Is this view, in your opinion, somewhat correct? Like they should be helped. However, the number of disabled people should also be reduced because at times you suffer more when you have been through an accident, right? So, like for me as a person, it's somewhat unbearable to see a person suffer like that. So, do you think the number of people who have been who are disabled should decrease?
Can you repeat your question, please? Did you say that the political will you're talking of, or
Kind of like it might be a bit it might be a bit controversial, but like there have been issues where people have become disabled due to some sort of physical or genetic disorder. So maybe in through use of uh, advanced medical technologies, we could decrease that number. So what do you feel about that?
definitely, any sort of physical disability has medical intervention and technology enabled. You saw Stephen Hawking's also. He could interact with the help of technology. So medical intervention and technology is an integral part in creating opportunity for disability or disabled persons. And how does it happen? Definitely it happens with more of political will, because all these processes require huge capital investment, and it may not be possible for individuals or smaller organizations or NGOs probably to set up. So mostly the NGOs are in the advocacy part, so they create the awareness. But you are absolutely right and spot on that it requires huge political will, and I think it's a responsibility of every government to see that the required medical intervention, technology, and opportunities are created. So it's a great question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Yash. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to ask Dr. Shruti ma'am about something called a project called Anjali.
Anjali is one of my most favorite projects. You see, when I was traveling in the US in the 1998 and 99, I visited a couple of schools. And in one of those, many of those schools, not one, I found some interesting things happening. In one school, I found a little boy, he had a ventilator on, and a lot of equipments attached to his body on the wheelchair. And he was in one of the classrooms in the nursery class. And the teacher was teaching a game to the children. She used to make one child stand in the corner of the class, and the rest of the children played some game for some time. At the end of it, she asked all the children, so how do you feel when you were standing in that corner and when you were standing in a group? And then they said, we didn't like being pushed to a corner and watching our friends playing and enjoying. Then the teacher explained to all the kids that this is what you are doing to the new boy who has come to school. You must all make an effort to be with him. Don't push him to a corner. And I found it so inspiring that I decided something like this should happen in India. We should not be talking about inclusion, about disability integration in the seminars, in the forums, but what we should be doing is bringing children together. So, with this idea in 2001, I initiated Project Anjali, and I will also tell you a small story. I went to about 22 officers, development organization heads, to international and national NGOs, and shared the concept with them. The concept was inclusive education in a joyful environment. So we thought we will not run regular classes. We'll have dance, music, art, and children with disabilities and those without disabilities. For 5 days, they will stay in the camp and do theater, do dance, music, and in the process, they will be understanding disability. They would be accepting differences and celebrating diversity. So little did I know that that small effort with 77 children in 2001 has become so popular that today we have reached all the districts of Orissa. We have reached 27 states of India and 11 countries across the world. So, in these 5 days, apart from children coming together and doing inclusive activities, we also have the college students who come as volunteers. They do everything from conducting workshops, conducting the competitions, to sweeping the grounds and helping children in and out of the buses, in the accommodation, this thing. And thus, we have now a band of over 10,000 college students who are sensitive to the cause of disability. So that is briefly all about Anjali.
Okay, ma'am. I also have one small story to say. When I
Yes.
was here, I had to leave the SAI International School due to my father having to change his job. Not change his job. His job changed his location. So I was here in SAI International during before Sai Angan was built. That was all I can remember. It was during 2013, I guess. My class, I think I was in the second grade. We went to a field trip to a blind school. I don't know which blind school it is because it has been such a long time. But over there, we could see everybody doing arts and crafts, despite them being completely blind. It's such an amazement to see. Even though we are second graders, they cannot cooperate properly. They, sorry, they are able to make such beautiful handiwork.
You see, Yash, we need to understand that a person with disability may have either a physical or a mental functional disability. And that function can always be compensated by the use of external gadget, by reasonable accommodations, assistive devices. So if I'm not able to walk, doesn't mean I cannot sing, doesn't mean I cannot study. But the psyche that has existed in India for not just India, South Asia, the whole of the world over thousands of years is disability is something to be afraid of, or disability is something to be just to wondered about, that thing we need to change. We need to accept the fact that just like us, all people with disabilities are able and capable in many aspects except the area where they have a functional limitation. You see, the best thing I tell everybody is accept, don't look at my wheelchair, don't look at a cane, just try to find out and discover who is Shruti. Come and meet me, talk to me. I can talk about cinema, sports, politics. So once we go beyond the assistive devices, once we go beyond the disabilities and try to discover the human being in front of us, everything will change, believe me. And I've seen so many changes coming about. See, my students who are now senior officers, wherever they have gone, they have brought about some change. Because when I was teaching them in the class, it was not the wheelchair. They were interacting with a human being with some intellect. My student, when she joined us in the Periyar sanctuary, she was a forest officer. She went to Kerala. Her first appointment was in Periyar. The first thing she did was build a accessible jetty. Another student went to Nandankanan, constructed the accessible toilet. Such hundreds of stories are there which have happened. It's because the more and more we accept people as human beings first and then look at limitations and disabilities, this world is definitely going to be a beautiful place.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your amazing answers. Even sir, you were also very kind enough to answer our questions. We really had great time interacting with both of you. That is like an experience for lifetime. I'm so sorry I have to interrupt because we are running a little late on time in time. So, but guys, we are having a really fun segment ahead, and that would be hosted by Akshita and Harshita. So, guys, can you take over?
Sure. Thank you, Hema and Sneha. Hi, everyone. I'm Akshita Chopdar.
And I'm Harshita Sehgal.
And we welcome you to the closing session. So, once a genius said, games are nature's most beautiful creation. Well, we thought of bringing some of them to you and make this event even more beautiful.
With this being said, let the fun begin. To introduce the first game of the evening, we would love to call upon Vikalsh Bansal and Sakshi Baheti from SAI International Residential. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Harshita. A very warm welcome to everybody out there again. So I, Sakshi Baheti, along with Vikalsh Bansal, will be taking the program further. We have come here with an activity which you people would enjoy. So I hope you people are ready with your paper and marker as informed beforehand. Can I see them? Yeah, so I can see people ready with their papers and markers. So in this activity, basically you need to make an Xmas tree, but there's a twist. There's a condition that you need to struggle with. You are not allowed to use your hands. Okay, and also you need to follow some basic rules. Firstly, you need to switch on your cameras. Secondly, I'll be playing the music for 5 minutes and you have got 5 minutes time with you. And as soon as the music stops, you people need to stop and show me your art pieces this way. I hope I'm clear. Okay, so your time starts now.
Sorry, Sakshi.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, Yash has a question, I guess. Can you? Yeah, you can go ahead, Yash. Are you able to unmute?
Can you say what the problem was? Not problem. Like what was the only obstacle?
The catch was that you cannot use your hands. Yeah, yeah. You cannot use your hands to draw the Christmas tree. You have to use any other part of your body, just not your hands.
Is my mouth possible? Like something like this?
Anything.
Anything.
Other than your hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you wait for a few minutes? I need to get a paper somewhere.
Yeah, please do that quick. Meanwhile, I guess Om has also a question. Yeah. You can go ahead, Om. Can you unmute?
Yeah, like exactly do we need to draw a Christmas tree? Like can we an easy one or like can we draw something else also?
Yes, you can draw an easy one.
Yeah. Just a triangular one.
Okay.
Okay.
Have some thumbs up. I can see that you people are ready.
Okay.
Okay, so I hope many of you are ready. So shall I start? Yeah. Okay, so your time starts now. and have complete 4 minutes with you. Hurry up, guys. 3 minutes left.
Actually, keep the music going. I can't hear it.
Keep going, more 2 minutes.
I see majority of you enjoying the music. Okay, I feel like majority of you have done it before time. You people are so talented. Like many of you have showed it to me as well. So can we have all the art pieces so that we can just have a snap?
Okay, keep it up there. I'm going to take a few screenshots. Don't stop. I want to see all your amazing Christmas trees. The better, more the detail, the better. Wow.
You people are amazing artists.
I know. I'm feeling mine was horrible, and I'm an art major. Good job. Wow. I'm on so many pages to go. Okay, I'll hurry. Keep showing them. I'm on page 8, I think now. So many trees. That's awesome. Okay, 11. I'm almost there. Keep holding them up. There's no way I can get all of them. Okay, I think I got all the ones who showed. All right, thank you, everybody. I'm super impressed with that. Go ahead, you guys.
Thank you, guys. You were so great. Now, if anyone would like to share their experience to draw an Xmas tree without the help of their hands, anyone there? Yes, Manya.
So I'm Sruti, and it was very difficult. I tried to draw it with my. I used my mouth first, and when I was unable to, I tried doing it with my leg. So this is my art piece, and it looks. It was very hard. Sometimes it's slipping from my mouth or from my leg, and it's just so difficult to do this. But I don't know how the person who don't have their hands or their limbs, how can they do it? It's very difficult.
Now it's Prathamesh, and I first tried to do it with my mouth, and using my mouth I drawed this very means very bad kind of Christmas tree. Then and every time it from my mouth, sometimes the pen was going on my the crown of my teeth, and it was like a kind of shivering feeling was coming to me. And now afterwards I tried with my legs, and I think it's okay with legs. And then finally I made it with my hand. So this is bad, this is worse, and this is worst.
It's amazing that you mentioned with my hands, with my legs. That's amazing.
It's just a combination of bad, worse, and worst.
Anybody else would like to speak?
Yeah, me. When I was really young, especially before I started grade school, there was this thing called preschool. In my country, most people aren't really familiar with that stuff, but I was a really mischievous kind of a child. So whenever my teachers would tell me to draw with my hands, I would take the crayons in my mouth and then I'd start drawing with the crayons. So that actually helped me out since instinct. But I couldn't really do it with my legs because of culture and then religious constricts. So but like this was basically the thing that I drew with my mouth. However, if you notice the fluorescent parts, that's basically all the areas where my saliva dropped because I could not control it. And then I drew a Christmas tree in 3 seconds, but the decorations, like this is a star I tried to draw. First of all, it was a circle, and then over it I drew a star. After that, I tried to draw all those whatever the sprinkles, I guess confetti. I tried to draw all the confetti that are usually strung on the trees, and then these are just some Christmas celebration balls or something. I do not really celebrate Christmas, so I have no idea.
It's amazing how you made an effort to decorate the tree as well. It's really amazing that you people did it so great. So I really thank you all for your cooperation and your active participation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Those trees were beautiful. Who thought we had so many Picassos in the house?
I know, right? Okay, so has this ever happened with you that you wanted to convey something but just didn't know how to? Well, we might just be a saving grace. Moving on to the next activity, we would like to call upon Miss Alka Joshi from Swabhiman, who has done her diploma in sign language from Kolkata at Ali Yavar Jung National Institution of Hearing Handicapped and completed her master's in social work. She has been a volunteer for Swabhiman since over 10 years, and today she will be teaching us a few phrases in sign languages. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see all people over here in front of me. So many students, so many people are here. I can see that their interest in sign language, their interest in knowing some new words. It's really happy that you people are giving that much of interest, right? So normally when we do a sign language, we usually use a sign language, right? For example, you say to your mom that I'm feeling hungry, right? So how you say to your mom that I'm feeling hungry? Do you have any idea? Do you have any any guesses? Can anybody do one thing, like how much you know sign language? I just wanted to know. Yeah, please carry on. Asof, can you carry on? Carry on. Yeah, carry on. Anybody can say.
So what happened? What I usually do is I do not know much sign language. Whenever I talk to my friends and the teachers don't want us to talk, we usually use sign language. We use gibberish sign language. Like there's this anime called Naruto, and we started using ninja symbols, and we just guess whatever the other person says. But whenever I feel hungry and I say I need to convey to my mother, but I'm not really feeling like talking. What I do is I just rub my belly, which I do a lot often. Even I might not look like it, but what I do is I just rub my belly and then I jiggle it a bit because it's I have a lot of fat in there from when I was almost 2. So even though I lost a lot of weight, I did not actually lose my weight. Those were just hormones, and I grew in height. But technically, I did not. So what happened? What happened was I needed more food for some reason. So what happened was I either slapped my belly, rubbed it, or just kind of self tickled myself. to express that I really
Yeah,
want.
exactly. What you said is you just rub your belly like this, right? So it is also one type of hungry, so you can also say that food is like that. You eat the food in this way, right? Normally we eat the food in this way. So this is a food and we are feeling hungry, so you show your stomach. So in stomach you feel hungry, so whatever the food you eat, that goes to stomach. So it is related, it's interlinked of the sign language. So like this is one of the sign language, or you can say normally we do the sign language but unknowingly we are using the sign language, right? It's not that we are perfect in sign language, but it's that you're using a sign language but unknowingly, or you're using some gesture. You can say like you are talking about money, right? If you go to any of the places and you ask that how much is this, and something is there in your mouth, so you're not able to speak that how much, kitna hai bhai, aap mere ko batao, how much is the price. So you just ask this way, right? Ab khate ho is jagah pe muh pura full hai, you can't say something, but you show your hand in this way. This is a gesture of a sign of money. So normally when you're using the gesture is also known as a sign language, and knowingly or unknowingly you're using a sign language that is known as money is this, right? So first we have to learn in sign language. The first basic thing is that we have to go with the alphabets, right? When we are very small, we teach our children or we teach our kids that you have to learn A, B, C, D up to Z, right? So in that way, we also have in sign language, we have a to Z, which is a sign language alphabetic, and you have to learn that first. If you learn this, then you can go to the next is number. Number is also a very important vital role in the sign language, because when you talk to somebody or you ask some address or you ask a name to a person, so what they will say, my name is Alka, fine. So I will say my name into Alka to you like this way, but how will I talk to a deaf person if a deaf person is in front of me? And if you can say a deaf blind is also in front of me, how will I talk to that deaf and blind in a sign language? They also use sign language, but they use in a different way of sign language. For the deaf people, they have a different sign language, right? So in deaf people, we normally they see the eyes. The eyes is their, the voice which we speak is our voice, and for them, the eyes is their voice, right? The eyes is the ear, you can say actually, right? And the hand is their mouth. For the deaf people, the hand is the mouth and the eyes is the ear, right? So whatever we speak or we sign, so they will see us, and they will understand that, and they will communicate, or maybe the answer will come back in their sign language. We have to understand that, right? So in this, we have to go for a sign language of alphabets, right? So alphabet is like in A is less. Are you interested to learn sign language in alphabets? Yes. So shall I start? Yash, you have a question, right? You can, please unmute yourself. Yeah. HI. What? Hearing impaired. You're talking about hearing impaired?
I guess he's just trying to say hi.
Just trying to say
okay, hi. Because I'm just relating to the hearing impaired, because it's HI is also one type of hearing impaired, right? So that's why I'm saying, okay, hi is this way. But normally in this sign language, we say hi is this. Hi is this. Hello. Or bye. Fine. And hi. Hey. Why? You're talking about why? You're using ASL actually, right? HIS. His. You are saying HIS. It is his.
No, ma'am, I'm trying to say something. When I'm doing this, I'm trying to say space. I'm trying to mean space. Sorry, ma'am. Can you do it one more time? I'm trying to do something.
Yash, you're using H and I H is this and I is this, and this is space you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Space is like this. Normally we do the spaces like this, right?
I didn't know. I decided to do something
No,
like
it's
this.
not a space. It's not a space. Space is like this.
Okay.
This is H, and you're using ASL, not ISL. In India, where we are staying in India, so we have to follow the ISL, not ASL, right?
I
Because
agree.
maximum in India will not understand ASL, right?
Right.
So if you stay in India, you have to use ISL rather than ASL, because many people in India use both the hands. Because in ASL, people in America, people in some other places, they use only single hand. Whatever they talk, whatever they communicate, they use only single hand. But in India, we don't understand, we don't follow. If you talk to a deaf person, they might understand a few words like alphabets, which you said right now. But if you communicate, you have to communicate in two hands, right? Like, for example, what is your name? What is your name? Basically, in ISL or maybe in ASL, we don't use grammar a lot, right? We use only single words like, are you hungry? So we can say only hungry. That is word which we explain that a person that I'm feeling hungry. So I'm not using is, that. I'm not using that, right? I'm just only using the word which I really wanted to say and the word which I wanted to express myself, right? So in that way, we have to explain that. Can you say what did I said?
I'm hungry.
Yeah. When we say I'm hungry, but when we explain or when we show, that is that I'm hungry. Your expression is more important. Whatever thing what you express yourself, your expression is really very important, and this is a sign of expression, right? This way, your eyebrows go this way and this way, so this is known as expression, right? This is the expression sign, and this is the example. This is example, this is expression, right? So for example, I'm asking Jessica ma'am, can you just interpret, like, can you just say your name in ASL or maybe ISL?
Yeah, because I only know ASL. I'm not very familiar with ISL, just few of the alphabets. And I did take a couple semesters in college in the US as my second language, but I'm not very fluent with it anymore as any language. So what I did learn was when we went to the deaf schools, they use it completely different. So I thought, oh, I'll be able to communicate with them, and I was all excited. And then I got there and I couldn't understand much. So like there they say name like this. So my name is, so you just spell your name out. But yeah, so I think it's also according to the deaf community too. If you're in the deaf community, then you would probably be assigned a name or give yourself a name.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. When like for me, when I was very young, my parents are deaf and my husband is also deaf, right? So when I started my journey in ISL in diploma course, my name was only Alka. I didn't get any name of mine, right? My name was only Alka Nanda Joshi, and that's it. When I started learning the sign language, they saw me regularly, what I do every day. Maybe I'm like I'm sitting like this, or maybe I have a lot of tattoo in my hands. So they see entire body of mine from head to tail, so that they can at least express that, okay, fine, her name will be like this and my name is this way, because I have a tattoo in my this hand, so my name is this in deaf community. But for the hearing community, my name is Alka Joshi. For the deaf community, if you ask anybody, because a lot of people having same names, right? So if you tell the word, like normally we say Dr. Shruti ma'am. Shruti ma'am is also having a sign language. She's also having a name of in sign language because deaf people have given them in the sign language. So like that, so many people are using, they're just visualizing you in a very different way, what you do regularly, and that way they use to give you the name, and that name will be fixed for lifetime. And whenever you go and meet any person and you want to call, like for example, maybe I'm standing very far off, but I can't hear the person is calling me. A deaf person will say that another deaf that please call Alka. So if the person is near to me, they will say, okay, Alka ma'am, your person, somebody is calling you in the back. So I will look back and they will tell, because sign language is such a language where if you stand in a a lot of people are there, music is going on, and the deaf people can communicate very easily because it's a very good language for them, because they don't need any sound in their ears or they don't need any music in their life, right? The thing is that they want to only communicate, and the communicate is the only way of that. If you're in very nearer or you're very far from them, the only way of the communication was a sign. The hand, they have to very bigger hand. If you're very in a crowded area and you people are not able to see me, I have to sign, but some people are in front of me and the next person who I'm talking to is in the other side, so I have to use my big hand and I have to tell them, okay, fine, I'm wanting this thing. So there are a lot of things in sign language which usually make a sign which is very easy for them. First, we have to see, like nowadays, pandemic is going on. So nobody has known that what is a sign of sign language in pandemic coronavirus, right? So they have made a sign of coronavirus, and this is a known as coronavirus sign. This is a corona sign, coronavirus, because ball is this way and there are a lot of viruses in the outside of the body, right? So that's why they have visualized and they're given the name of coronavirus is this way. So lockdown is like this because all the shops, all the colleges, schools, everything was closed, right? So they're given in this way as lockdown. So the new words comes up, they will visualize, they will see that and they will make it, because deaf people make the sign language of different words. We don't make it as an interpreter, we don't make it. We will give the suggestion, okay, this is the meaning of this, so you please make a sign. So they will make a sign and they will give us, and people will spread it out, and that word will go over all over India, maybe in India, maybe in America also, and maybe abroad. So all over world knows the corona sign is this. So there are a lot of words, like I can say difficult words like lockdown, shutdown, coronavirus, vaccine. Like I'm talking about all the related towards pandemic things, right? So lockdown will be like this, shutdown will be like this, fine. Vaccine will be like this, vaccine. Corona, you have to relate it this, which vaccine you're talking about. Are you talking about polio vaccine, or are you talking about maybe whatever disease maybe, you're talking about what vaccine you're talking about. So you have to relate it with that. Like I'm talking about corona vaccine, so corona vaccine. It's all related things we have to say. Or we can say, there are, you can say Monday to Friday, right? If you go for a Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday, you say your school's closed on Sunday. So you know the language of weekends. Do you know? So the Monday sign will be like this: M M double M. Double N is known as Monday. If you go in a local wise, like if you're in Bhubaneswar or if you're in Bengal, so the local sign language of Monday will be like this, because all the schools and colleges, offices open on that day. It's a local sign language. It's Monday. It's open. And if you go for ISL, the Monday sign will be like this. Double M. Fine. Tuesday will be like this. Double T. Tuesday. If you go for a local, the Tuesday will be like this, because it's a Mangala temple, pujas and all is going on in the Mangalvar. Mangalvar ka Mangal puja hota hai, to isliye Mangalvar will be like this, right? For a local sign. And if you go for Wednesday, W is double. Double W. Thursday will be like this. Friday will be like this, double F. Saturday, S, and half. It's a half. Maximum people, banks get closed in a second holidays, or they get a half holidays. So it's like S and half. Saturday. Sunday is closed because all the session is closed. The colleges, the offices, the entire thing is closed. So they are related to this way. It's closed. Sunday is closed. Fine. This is actually when we go for a any data given from a institute, or maybe a deaf person wanted to know on which date is my interview. So you have to tell them, okay, fine, your interview is on Sunday. Maximum people have a weekend, so they have an interview on Sunday. Like some corporate office, they have on Sunday because they don't want to disturb in their working days, so they'll have it on Sunday. So you have to inform to a deaf person, okay, Sunday is my interview. Fine. So interview sign will be like this. You can say like this, or you can say like this. Interview. There are two ways of signing of interview, right? One is this. One is this. Fine. And if you go for a basic alphabets, that will be like A, B, C, D, E. Fine. F. Fine. F, G, H, I, J, J. This hand will be in your side, make it your side. And then this hand will be going this way, J. Dhriti, make your left hand in the left hand, and the right hand will be in this way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, K, this way. This will be like this, and then you have to keep it over here. K, L, M, N, O, P. This will be a very small. Don't make it this much because it shows D also, right? So you have to do in this way also. It's a very small thing you have to make it. So P and D is almost similar, right? You have to think about it because D will be like this. P is also like this. Fine? P. Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Any doubt? Yeah, Shruti, please carry on. Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Now, how do we represent G?
G will be like this.
Okay, I forgot.
There are some words which is almost similar, like for example, C and E. C will be like this. E will be just the single hand will be coming in the middle way. That is also E. They're almost similar. Like D and P. This will be a D and this will be also P. Right? Any doubt in alphabets? Yeah, Asta, please.
Yes, I had a question. Is it necessary for it to be like specific hands? Does it have to be from left or from right? Is there any specific rules to that?
No, in both the hands, you don't have to make it like a specific wise. But the thing is, like, if you make to understand the person in front of you, you have to very specific to them, right? Whatever line you're using. For example, I'm using, you can say, what did I sign?
Astha.
Your name.
I signed your name. So if I sign your name in this way, like for example, AAS, T will be like this if I sign like this. So people will get confused, like which language she's using. Because normally when what we write in right hand, people, those who write in right hand, they will use the right hand first, right? Rather than the left hand. The people, those who use left hand first, they will use the left hand first and the right hand will be in the later on. For us, the people, those who write in right hand, they usually use the right hand first in whatever the letter they speak, right? Like for example, I speak Astha, AAST, right? It's on my right hand. I didn't say like this, right? Because your habit will make yourself to be in a right way, right? And that is the way which I speak, and that is the way which I tell to the deaf person, and the deaf person will understand me properly. And you have to be very clear in your sign language, right? They're not like that. If you're wearing a like thing has to be very proper wise. Like you can't spell so fast people can't understand you. You might be knowing a sign language, it's fine, it's good enough that you know sign language, but you have to very slow for the person who I'm talking to. I can't go like this, AASTHA. I can do the sign very fast, but you can't understand that, right? For example, I'll sign Harshita now. HARSTHIA. Did you understand what did I said? It's very fast. So you have to be very slow to the person who have to understand. The same way it goes to the person who is very new learner, right? It's a new learner. It's new.
Okay, you guys, I think we have more things we have to cover before we wrap up. Why? We already are like 40 minutes over time, but I don't care because I enjoy this sort of thing, and the people who didn't enjoy their all slowly shuffled out, so that's fine. So I think we can just take a couple questions. Why don't you take that over, my hosts, maybe for the top 3 people here, and then we'll have to go on to the next section, okay?
Yes, ma'am. So we will go for the question answers. The first person is Anika Paul.
Thank you. Ma'am, I just had one question. What was the purpose of having different sign languages in different regions? Because doesn't it again cause a language barrier, as someone who uses ASL will have difficulty in understanding ISL? And isn't techniques like lip reading better, although there are problems in both of the versions?
Like you have a question like that, if I use ASL, because I'm not belonging from America place, right? Or either I'm belonging from like a London, or maybe you can say Germany, the places which they use a ASL a lot, right? So in that area, the people of that community can understand. And if I have to understand, I have to learn that language. I have to learn that language, and I have to explain that, okay, fine, that is ASL, and I have to learn ASL. And ASL is always they use only single hand. And for the Indian people, it's very hard to understand, because Indian people never goes to foreign. Like very few people go to foreign. They have to learn, they have to studies, they have a lot of things they have altogether. So they go, before going there, they have to learn the language first, because their language and their culture of deaf community is totally different. We have to learn their language first, and we have to understand clearly, and then we can communicate very easily. Same as in India, ISL is also having a different regional language, right? In India, we are staying in Calcutta, we are staying in Odisha, we are staying in like nearby location. It's very nearer, it's very similar. If you go to, you can go to Chennai, or you go to Kerala, you go to Tamil Nadu, their language is totally different. Like for example, Sunday we say like this. In Indian ISL, all over Indian ISL is almost same, right? It's no different. But if we go for a regional language, like for Kerala, the people use Sundays like this. Hyderabad people use Sundays like this. So there are different languages, but for that reason, they have made a ISL is a very standardized language for all over India. Whoever goes wherever places they wanted to go, The ISL will be similar for everybody and everybody can understand. There are a lot of languages like DSL, there is language of ASL, there is a language of ISL. DSL is a British Sign Language, ASL is an American Sign Language, ISL is the Indian Sign Language. There are a lot of languages also they have. There are different places have different languages as well. So if you go to places such as you have to learn the language first, like normally we do for we normally go for any places. We have to learn the language first so that we can communicate, right? So similar for the deaf people as a ghost, and same thing goes for them as well. Fine. I hope I have clear to your answer.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, ma'am. I had a small request. Like before we move forward, I think everyone can do the IDPD sign in the sign language, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Okay. So, ma'am, can you go ahead teach us one more time, and then we'll follow.
IDPD.
Yeah.
I think you should at least go first. If you do mistake, then I can say you first because I've already taught you, right? So I think Hem Doshi is signing IDPD. I think so.
So I guess it'll be like I, D, P, and D.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I, D, P, D.
Great. Thank you so much.
That was so much fun. Like it was so fun to learn, and we totally believe now that actions are much more powerful than words.
Yeah, but there are a lot of sign language. It's not easy to teach in 10 minutes. It's not easy because a lot of signs comes up, right? In between, I've already taught you alphabets. I've taught you, weekends, Monday to Sunday. Then I have taught you about Corona. The pandemic is going on. I've taught you that as well. That lot of things is there. But if you are very keen to understand or you're keen to learn, so you have to give the time for that and you have to learn easily, you can go for it. And it's very easy if you learn the sign language of basic thing, you can communicate with any deaf person as using alphabets. You can't go so fast, but you can use an alphabet, you can talk to them. It's very easy to communicate with a deaf person as in learning as alphabets. And alphabets, you can talk like, what do you want to know? I'm saying in direct sign language, you want to know what, right? So if I meet a deaf person for the first time, I have to tell them YOU WANT, want, TO2 NOWO, know what, WHAT. It's very long word to sign, right? You have to give that patience to learn and you have to sign. And if I go in that directly, that which I said, you want to know what? You want to know what? Want will be like this. I want. I want. So this will be the want sign. This is the known sign. This is what sign. So going in this way, it take a lot of time. To doing this in short time is like, you know what, or what do you want to know? That's all. So it's that way you have been meeting for the first time a deaf person. The alphabet is very important. You take some time, but do alphabets. Then slowly, slowly you will come to know about the words, right? You can't jump directly to a words. First, you have to go for a small alphabets. That is alphabets, then words. Fine?
Okay. Thank you so much, Alka ma'am. It was a very interesting presentation.
Thank you so much.
Isn't it beautiful when a person understands what brings you happiness, and especially when you don't even tell them what it is? Our next activity brings just that to the table. We would now like to invite Guneet Singh Nagpal from the Interact Club and Chirag Moore from the Going Global Club of SAI International to introduce you to the final activity.
I want to say
Thank
just
you.
one thing over here. Thank you, Jessica ma'am. Thank you, Shruti ma'am, for giving me this chance that doing a sign language presentation classes. Thank you so much, ma'am, that you're giving me such a beautiful classes and beautiful students to me to give them a training session. Thank you so much.
Well, in LSL, I think, isn't it happy? Yeah, thank you.
Is it this?
Thank you is this. Thank you.
This
Okay.
is, thank you.
Thank you and welcome is this. And happy. I'm very happy.
Happy, yeah.
Thank you.
It was lovely to meet you. Thank you.
Same here. Same. I'm happy to see you all.
Yeah. Thank you, Harshita.
Okay,
Hello,
guys,
everyone.
we got to continue.
Yes. Hello, everyone. This is Gunit from the Interact Club of SAI International.
And this is Chirag from the Going Global Club of SAI International.
And we are here to host the last activity of the day.
The last one is supposed to be the most super fun one, right?
Oh, yes, indeed. So let's introduce you to our fun game called Describe the Object. In this, first, we are going to choose a volunteer and then give him some specific directions or adjectives.
The volunteer then accordingly has to describe the object which he thinks suits the best without telling us how the object looks like.
So now, for a trial run, supposedly Akshita has raised her hand and is our first volunteer. Akshita, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, yes. Am I audible?
Yes, Akshita. Now, can you please describe the object placed on your right without actually telling what it is?
Okay, it is something which buzzes when someone remembers me, and I use it every day. It is very important, and it rings. Yeah.
So now suppose Chirag knows what Akshita just described. So Chirag, can you please unmute yourself and take a guess?
Is it a mobile phone?
Akshita, were you describing your mobile phone?
Yes. Yeah, it was a
So-
phone.
So this was pretty simple. But if Chirag had guessed it wrong, we would have given somebody else a chance to take the guess.
So now I hope you guys have understood how this will be like. So let's begin.
Anyone up for volunteering? We already have some few raised hands.
Arna Kapoor, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Can you please describe your favorite food item?
Okay. It has cheese on it, and it has sauce on it. Like, yeah, that's it.
We already have a lot of raised hands. Would
Yes,
like to guess it.
Asta Sharma, would you unmute yourself?
Okay, I know there are lots of foods that have cheese and sauce, but the most probable choice is pizza.
Is it right?
Oh, thank you for volunteering.
Yep. So next, moving on to the next round, we like to see again a few raised hands.
Rishika Singhania, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you describe something you don't like?
Rishika, are you there?
Do we still have her with us?
Yeah. So, something I don't like is I'm not getting a thing which I don't like.
Okay. Can you describe the object placed in the drawer nearest to you?
Yeah. So it is used to clean everything I write in my notebook, and it is available in many colors, and it has designs too and different fragrances.
Okay.
Okay, so Garvita, would you unmute yourself?
I'm not sure, but is it an eraser?
Is it an eraser, Rishika?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Thanks
Now
for volunteering.
that was a good one. No.
Can you have Ayosef? Can you please unmute yourself?
Yes.
Can you describe the your favorite thing which is present in your room right now?
Okay, so it's basically a collection of leaves that have been processed, and it stores a lot of data.
Okay.
Enora, can you unmute yourself? Enora, would you like to answer?
Is it like your phone? Okay.
Okay, Dhriti, would you like to answer?
Uh, uh, I think it's a computer because it has lots of data in it, and yeah.
Okay, so Ayush, would you like to unmute yourself and answer?
I think it could be a computer or something like that, or
Now I guess we'll move on to the answer, like what it was.
As I said, leaves processed, which means paper. So paper and data means information.
Okay,
A textbook or basically a book.
that was a good one.
Okay.
Moving on to, I guess we'll take two more volunteers.
Yes, Anika, would you like to tell us? Anika?
yeah. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, hi. Can you describe a dark colored thing near you?
Okay. Okay. So it is like present in everyone's house, and it is used in many purposes, and its key purpose is for you not to stand and do things.
Okay. We see a
So,
few raised hands
Adib,
again.
would you like to answer? Adib?
I didn't really get the answer. Can you question the description? Can you repeat it a little? The description.
Yes,
I didn't get it.
Anika, can you please repeat?
Yeah, okay. So it is present in like almost everyone's house, and it is used in various things. And its key feature is it helps you to do things without standing.
Okay. So I guess
Yes, so Adib, would you like to take a guess?
So,
Just take a wild guess. Guess anything.
we have a lot of more raised hands.
Yes, Manya, would you like to answer?
A chair.
So was it a chair?
Anika, was it a chair?
Quite close, but not. It's quite
Okay,
close.
we'll take a few more guesses.
Okay, Ida, would you like to answer?
Is it a stool?
Was it a stool?
Okay, just
No.
We'll take two more guesses.
Ayush, Meher, would you like to answer?
Yes, was it a sofa?
Yeah, that's correct.
If someone got that at last,
yes.
That was cool. So one last volunteer.
Okay, we'll take Pratmesh, would you like to describe something?